All them man that's in the balls, we smoked all of them.
Them man, yeah, but
as well.
that's why they don't want us there. They don't want us there because
all of them.
we've smoked so many people.
Why is Marth there?
They smoked so many people that they don't want us there. And the businessman in me understands it. The businessman.
I think deep down they know if we turn
the
up.
businessman in me understands it. Because if we turn up, it's like, oh, the Dons are here. It's all about the Dons. They don't want that.
What's going on, people, and welcome back to Roots TV. I told you I'm trying to stay consistent, man. Look, it's gale force winds out here. Apologies if you can't hear me properly. But again, I told you I'm trying to stay consistent. So again, please reward that with a like, comment and subscribe. All of that YouTube malarkey, trust me, it helps, man. It helps a lot. So again, I'm going to try and stay consistent with daily content on YouTube and on all the other socials as well. So again, please back that up with supporting anyway. So let's get to the subject of the video. So again, why are SC Dons and Five Guys not in Baller League? Now, if you've seen at the top of the video, again, a conversation that was discussed a couple of months ago when SC Dons were playing SBA, I believe, obviously during the Fives episode, and people were asking why are SC Dons not in Baller League, and Strapsy gave his opinion in terms of like, okay, we'll take over, and they smoked everyone, and you know, they have every right to think that, and half of me believes that as well, but I also think there's another reason why. You know, hear me out on this one. So Strapsy, if you're watching, SC Dons fans, if you're watching, please drop a comment in the comment section below if you agree with my point or not. You know, it's up for debate anyway, because again, who are we to decide on what Baller League should do? But again, my thoughts and opinions are the reasons why SC Dons are not included as part of Baller League is because they're an entity, they're a big brand themselves. And again, I don't think they really want big brands. I think they want a big influencer. Now, if you look at the influencers that are involved, you've got the likes of Angry Ginger involved, you've got the likes of Sharky involved. Obviously, he's part of SDS, but Sharky, because they could have easily just said Beta Squad as an entity, as like the equivalent to SC Dons as an entity, but they've got Sharky involved. Who else have they got involved? They've got obviously Toby from Sidemen. Again, they could have gone down the whole Sidemen as opposed to Toby. So they've taken figureheads from these entities and then gone with that. So then you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, so why not take Strapsy? Because obviously he's part of SC Dons, but I think because he's so in part of SC Dons, I don't think they've seen it that way. I think they've just seen as SC Dons and forgot Don Strapsy was his own man before SC Dons. You know, he had a whole music career and all sorts before making SC Dons. That I don't think they've seen it that way. And part of me also thinks that they've just dropped the ball. They might have just dropped the ball here, not done their proper homework, and because sometimes I feel like they've got a bit of arrogance behind them in terms of like, oh, they didn't realise that there was a whole five-a-side scene here and there was a whole kind of influencer scene here outside of the main 4 or 5 creators. Don't get me wrong, they've got big creators. You know, there's a reason why. They've gone by metrics. You know, what Ginge brings to the table is massive. You know, he's part of the whole, there's a whole like little cluster, like a little group of people, creators. You know, you've only got to see the Sidemen versus Beta Squad creator game to notice that. Like, he was part of that. So he's part of that. You've obviously got Toby, who's part of the Sidemen, and obviously you've got KSI, the president, so that's an automatic bring in. You've got Mini Minter as well, who's in there as well, part of the Sidemen. So again, you have to have those two groups involved. But in terms of the culture of five-a-side football, small-sided football, just Sunday league football in general, amateur football, whatever way you want to, you know, describe it as, you have to include SC Dons in there. I'm sorry, but you have to, because there are a lot of the reasons why people watch this in the first place, even before Baller League. You know, Baller League's only been around 1 year, let's be honest. In the UK anyway, not including Germany, but 1 year. Where you're talking about people invested in Sunday league football, especially the youth of today, SC Dons have a key impact in that, and they've been going on for what, 11 years now, 11 seasons now. So again, it's hard not to discredit, well, it is very hard to discredit them, because what they've done and what they brought to the culture of amateur football is phenomenal. So my thing is, and this is my only way of thinking, because otherwise it can't be really due to numbers, or it can be, because I know you've got Ginge and Toby and Mini Minter and Sharky on another stratosphere in terms of numbers. Let's face it, let's address the elephant in the room. Like, and I feel like with that, Strapsy's probably been so focused on getting SC Dons, the brand, to be as big as it is kind of put himself to one side, maybe kind of slowed down on his music career. Yes, you might see him pop up on a Filthy Fellas every now and then, or you might see him pop up on, what's the other show that they're doing now? League of 72, that's the other one. So again, you might see him pop up every now and again, but if he took himself as seriously as he took SC Dons, obviously his social numbers would have been through the roof. But again, you can't discredit what they've done and what they've brought to the table. So again, that's my way of thinking. That's the only reason why I can think SC Dons are not involved in this, because in terms of the numbers that they bring to the table, and I'm talking physical numbers, like for example, a normal Sunday league game, I've been there myself, so I've seen it from my own eyes. A good 300, 400 fans will come just to watch a Sunday league game, which is unheard of. Then you go to the SC Don versus Baiteze London Cup final, where it was, well, I'll say it wasn't a sellout. It wasn't a sellout, but it was a good 3,500 fans that turned up to a League Two stadium. I would say the majority of fans were SC Dons fans, if I'm being totally honest. Again, that's what they bring to the table. And to a Copper Box Arena, that is, what, 5,500 max? If one team can bring that amount of physical bodies to an arena on a Monday night, every single Monday night, that's a no-brainer for me. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing I would say that's missing from Baller League, is that physical presence, go into games, chants, the lot. That's what you want. You want that atmosphere. Yes, online, you smashed it. You've got 2 million people watching week in, week out. That's fantastic. But in terms of like on the ground, people coming to the stadium, coming to chant, coming to watch their favourite players, watch their favourite teams, great. Because again, some teams don't have that sort of physical presence. I'll be honest, it's the older influencers that don't have that sort of presence. The likes of, let's say, a Depor Trio, or maybe a Depor Trio now that they've got Sturridge and Mika Richards. But again, when they had Lineker, Shearer and Richards, again, I don't know how many physical fans will come in just purely for them. Whereas, as opposed to obviously the likes of United, when you've got Angry Ginge fans screaming and all the rest of it now, you've got the whole SDS movement, like it's night and day. But if you had SC Dons involved, it's a no-brainer. Like, you would have young fans, older fans turning up purely for them. And that's, like, there's another example. Obviously, Wembley Rangers is quite similar as well. Like, I don't know how many people are turning up purely for Ian Wright and Alan Shearer. Like, people know them, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about die-hard fans that are willing to kind of put their monies where their mouth is and then turn up for them. Like, they're of a different generation where people are not going to really come out of their house for them. They'll acknowledge them and probably take a picture with them and all the rest of it now. But Baller League, I think, in my opinion, is for the younger fans. And the younger fans are drawn to Baller League by the influencers and the creators. So that's my way of thinking in terms of that. And then we get onto the Five Guys situation as well. You cannot rule out what Five Guys have done. Like, Five Guys have come on the scene now and smashed it, absolutely smashed it. Like, as we're talking now, in fact, as we're talking now, in terms of Five Guys, let's see what numbers Five Guys are on, because I know they're on a silly amount of numbers. Five Guys have built an audience, whether you like it or not, that is absolutely elite. So we're looking at their numbers online. So it's, in terms of subscribers, 765k subscribers. 700, they're approaching 800k subscribers alone on that main channel. Then you look at the numbers that they do online in terms of the last video that's just gone out, Pedro Jr. returns, over 500k. The last one, over 500k. One before that, 700k, when Rahman returns. Like, I could go on and on and on. You get the picture. So it's crazy that the fact that they're doing that many numbers on single videos that are only 20 minutes long, as opposed to the Baller League videos that are not doing as well, especially when it's the individual highlights as well. Yes, I mentioned earlier about the 2 million views, but that's on a night where it goes live with all the influencers involved, and then I'm probably including the Sky Sports numbers into the equation, whereas Five Guys are doing it solely by themselves. So it's like, why wouldn't you get involved? From a business standpoint, why wouldn't you get involved? And again, I'll probably go back to my earlier point. It's probably because Five Guys as an entity, they don't want Five Guys as an entity. They probably want the said individual who represents Five Guys. But who would that be? Would that be Milo? Would that be Louis? Would that be Sweet Chili? Would it be Ramen? But I don't think they have the social footprint or the numbers that Five Guys, the brand itself, has. Do you know what I mean? That's probably the only reason why I would suggest that they haven't been involved. And yes, you've had players from both camps involved. Obviously, you've got SC Dons, you've got Dom Perez involved right now, you've got Sam Fitz involved for M7, you've got Adrian now involved for M7 2, you've got Arj who's involved for M7 2 as well. on the Five Guys camp. I don't think you've got anyone this season, but obviously last season you had Sweet Chili in there, you had Ryan in there for briefly for treble. So again, they've been involved somehow, but again, the brand itself, Five Guys and SC Dons, I don't think they're going to be involving brands like that, because again, otherwise you would have done a beta squad team, you would have done a sidemen team, but you've got individuals from them, but you just not got them actually involved. So again, I think they're looking more at individual creators as opposed to teams. That's my only way of thinking, because otherwise, numbers wise, if you're just taking the two brands themselves and plonking them as teams, it's a no-brainer. But would Five Guys compete in Border League? I'll be totally honest, I don't think so. I think like they're great brands, what they've done in terms of getting fans involved, the following that they have is amazing, the engagement that they have is amazing, and the stuff that they've done outside of football, the Google ads, the Pizza Hut ads, all the rest of it now is amazing. But in terms of the elite, from what I've seen, I don't think they can compete at that level. I'm sorry, I'll be totally honest with you. And SC Dons, yes, I think SC Dons could compete more because they're out here. They're playing in national tournaments, they're playing in invitational tournaments, they're playing in leagues that are more competitive. So I think they can compete more. And again, I think people would want to play for those brands, but again, if you to take their best fives, I think SC Dons would be more equipped in Border League than Five Guys. But to be honest, I think Five Guys have kind of shot themselves in the foot. You know, the response that Milo gave towards Border League directly after the whole Big John incident, as you can see on screen now, I don't think they've done themselves any favours, but again, they probably got to the stage where they thought to themselves, we don't really care, to be honest. Like, and I hear it. Sometimes when you're not invited to the table, you make your own table, and that's the reason why they've got their own league and it does well. So that's my fair and balanced opinion. Hopefully you guys respect it from the Five Guys camp and SC Dons camp respectively. But I'll be interested in getting your thoughts and opinions on it. So why do you think SC Dons and Five Guys are not involved in it? And you can say that for many other teams. You can say that for Baiteze. You can say that for Under the Radar. I mean, you can only look at Top Baller as well. You know, why aren't Top Baller involved? You could have the best 1v1 players involved in that. Yes, you've got Manuel, who's the coach of Treble, once known as Treble, obviously now known as NDLFC. But again, that's kind of going back to my point. Like, rather than having the brand Top Baller involved, you have an individual from the brand. So maybe that might be the way forward. Having someone to represent SC Dons or someone to represent Five Guys from a team, that might be the way forward. But that's enough for me, guys. That's just my thoughts and opinions. I'll be interested to get your thoughts and opinions. So please let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you guys all soon. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.